What's up everybody, my name is Dandy, and we are back on Tutorial Island to learn a little more about all the mods 9 and some more modded Minecraft. So last time you might remember that we were hanging out in Backpackville. We were talking about how to make some awesome sophisticated backpacks for adventuring, and today we're going to move next door to its neighbor plot, kind of similar looking, got some more wood there, and we're going to talk about the Twilight Forest and how to make your Twilight portal. Let's get down to it. Alright, so we're down here in the magical realm of the Twilight Forest, and I'm going to talk to y'all about this other dimension. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the Twilight Forest is its completely own dimension within all the mods 9. You travel there, kind of like you would to the Nether or to the End, for a variety of resource hunting. Some of the stronger late game resources are hanging out there. And also just to look around. It's a fun place. It has its own bosses. It has its own little story. So let's learn how to get there today together. So it starts off with building the portal. And honestly, the portal, aside from one expensive resource, is not that hard to build. So you can see here, I've made this little platform, and I've taken some friends from the Twilight Forest, a couple fireflies. I made this out of Twilight oak planks and logs. But this plot of grass here is all we're really going to need to get started on our portal. So first up, let's just grab a shovel. The first thing you want to do is find any nice area of grass and dig yourself out a 4x4 or a 2x2 space, 4 squares worth of space. So that's it. That's going to be the beginning of your portal. Next up, fill it with water. If you're like me and you've played this game forever, you know that all you need are the 2 corners. Uh-oh, he's back. Away, fiend! And your llamas too. We need you not here. Leave my tutorial island alone. Sorry, I blacked out there for a second. What happened? Anyway, so now that we have the 2 buckets of water in and we filled this space with water, we are only 2 steps away from entering the Twilight Forest. Next up, you're going to want to grab any variety of mushrooms and flowers to place around the hole. Truly, you can use all roses, all dandelions, orchids or daisies, all mushrooms, or you can do a little variety of it all, but you want this thing completely surrounded. So let's put these buckets up, get all of these flowers onto my hotbar, and completely surround this thing with flowers. So you want a flower in every space, and I can't put mushrooms here because not the right dirt type, but if that's all you have, you can make it work. But you want flowers around this in every single spot that that exists. So as I go around, you'll see I'm just placing them completely randomly. There doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason. It is just a 2x2 square of water, completely surrounded by flowers on every adjoining block. The last step is, you guessed it, you need a single diamond. You take that bad boy, throw it in. Ow! That was loud. And you have lightning strike the hole to create a Twilight Forest portal. Now you have a way to traverse the universes and dive into the Twilight Forest. Let's check it out together. Whoa! Alright. With a bit of loud noise, we have arrived in the Twilight Forest. So first of all, it's going to be very important that you remember where this portal is. Back on Tutorial Island, we built a whole setup for it. You didn't have to worry, it was easy to see. But here, it's kind of just in the ground. So you're going to want to make sure that you open up that map and maybe make yourself a waypoint to remind yourself where this portal is. So right-click, waypoint. Portal home is a pretty safe thing to put, so that way if you're ever exploring and you're like, hey yo, I have no idea where this thing is, I didn't build a structure around it, you can look and say, alright, well, it's somewhere around here. So very handy. But what is the Twilight Forest? Well, I'm going to kick into creative mode so we can do a bit of a tour. The Twilight Forest is a realm that exists completely in twilight, filled with fireflies, these beautiful trees, a variety of hanging glowing lights, and a huge new variety of structures for you to explore that you won't see in the base game, along with some creatures that you might not see in the base game as well. So we actually have a really good spawn here. I didn't test it out beforehand, I just kind of hoped it would work out. So our portal spawned here between a variety of things. So over there you can see one of the biomes. We're in the Firefly Forest now, but you can see there's a biome that is just a super dense forest. I mean, if you get up above it, you can see that the entire canopy of trees is one huge block. It's called a dark forest, and you can see how the lighting changed. It ate up all the lighting. It is a very, very intense area. completely dark. Like I said, the entire canopy on top of it is all made of thick dark wood leaves because the trees completely blot out the sun. So it's a really, really dark place to traverse, but a very, very neat new biome concept. Around, you'll also see a variety of trees. You know, you have the standard canopy trees, but you'll also see trees like this, which I believe is what I was using back in my area, Twilight Oaks. So really cool, really huge trees that stretch up to the clouds. You're also going to find a lot of structures around. You know, obviously there's some smaller structures. You have little houses like this that might be infested by enemy mobs, but will offer you some loot, or maybe, you know, yeah, you can see a spawner in there. But we also have a structure like this. So this is going to be actually a boss arena for a boss called the Naga. Now, it's not currently here, and I'm not going to get into talking about how to spawn it, but you can see we have the Naga boss spawner right there, and this will spawn a giant snake boss that you have to slay for a variety of different rewards. You can make some cool in-game loot, you can get a trophy, it's part of the quest system in the game, but it's super fun boss fight, and sometimes, if you're lucky, your portal in will put you right next to one of their arenas. Now, there's another structure you might have noticed while I was flying around that we also spawned right next to, and this is the Wizard's Tower, or the Lich Tower. I don't remember the exact name. But a lot of times, these will have a mechanic that doesn't allow you to exactly get in and deal with it right away. Sometimes there are spaces in the Twilight Forest you can't access. You'll see like a wall of green energy, or it's almost like green text, very Matrix looking, that'll prevent you from invading a space or taking over a space. And some of the times that's tied to this tower. So it's just a super huge tower full of skeletons and all kinds of other enemies, and then a lich boss located at the top that you and your friends, or just yourself, can fight your way through, plunge of all of the loot, and eventually make out with whatever the tower has to offer. So again, you can see I've opened up, this is the very top, you can see the lich boss spawner. And he's just chilling in his art room, you know? He is all the way up at the top of this massive tower. I mean, just looking down through the glass, you can see there's other spawners for things like skeletons and other enemies. A spiral staircase with all kinds of branching paths to each of those towers. And it's just a huge climb up. But it's a really, really cool environment. It's a cool boss fight. The Lich is definitely not something... He's a war of attrition. Unlike the Naga, where it's one big boss fight, this is, you know, you're clearing hordes of enemies before you finally make it to the top of the castle to fight the final boss in his art room underneath his chandelier. Just really cool enemy design. And there are other enemies around the world, too, that you'll have to suss out and find. But there's one other thing that I have to look around and find so that I can show y'all. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I was actually scouring the map, and turns out what I wanted to show y'all is not that far away. So you can look at the map, and the map is really helpful, not only for pinging your portal or knowing where the Dark Forest is, or looking at each of these structures, which always look crazy. Like, the Naga arena is nice and open, but just looking at the cluster that is the top-down view of the Lich Tower is always funny. But if you're looking for rare resources, specifically rare ore, you can always mine down like you would in the normal world. That'll get you some stuff, it'll get you so far. But what you really want to look for on the map is something like this. You can see, you know, you have the different height maps, lower, higher, water, etc. But right here you can see there's kind of this weird bulging circle, like a bunch of rings. It almost looks like a crater. But it's actually a dome, and you can see it right ahead of us here. There is the dome. It's not a standout structure. It's not like a big dome made of stone, or, you know, it's just this weird circular hill. And you'll find these scattered throughout the Twilight Forest, and they are hugely important for resource gathering if you think that you can take the fight. So inside, it's spawning all kinds of stuff. These are havens for a variety of different enemies, both normal Minecraft and specific to the Twilight Forest. Hello, little bird. But, you can see little birds here, too. But you can get into these a lot of ways. You can mine through the side. I'm going to go straight through. I'm going to do the you should never do it thing and mine straight down. And if you mine straight down through the top, eventually you'll start seeing some light, and you get into a huge cavity like this. And these cavities are, again, they're filled with spawners. So zombie spawners, you'll find spiders, you'll find these weird little bugs that spit at you, you'll find these weird little goblin things. Just a variety of really aggravating, really angry enemies. But look at the loot returns. It is basically a cache of all kinds of different ore, you know? Tin, raw tin, glowstone, you have lead, coal, iron, silver, there's redstone even, you know, plenty of things. And then there's loot chests galore. So, I mean, this one has transformation powder, some gems, ingots, carrots, ladders, and, you know, you can tell which ones you've looted because, as you noticed, that was gold before I opened it. It's silver now. There will be several of these throughout the cave, and as you open them and loot them, you know, as you're running through and doing circles, you'll see they start out gold. You look in it, you're like, oh, awesome, some torches, I needed those, and now the chest is silver, and it helps you understand, all right, I've looted through this place pretty well. And again, it's just, you know, there's all kinds of things. Like, here's a skeleton spawner, but there's just ore galore, you know? It's if you're willing to fight through all of the different enemies, it really is a huge cache of variety ores that can be pretty rare, too. In fact, I haven't looked into it exactly for all the mods 9, but in a lot of different mod packs I've played, a very, very rare ore called all the Modium ore has the potential to spawn here. Now, it's not guaranteed, and it's usually only 1 or 2 ore blocks, but these are the type of things you would be looking for if you're trying to get all the Modium online, which is one of the absolute it is the super late game mod for most mod packs, and these are great places to look for that. But also just great places to, you know, save the effort of strip mining and dive right into getting all of that variety ore that you need in one place. Again, it will take some fending off enemies and having to clear some hordes. They're not spawning for me because I'm in creative and I'm showing you this for the point of tutorial. But a very, very helpful dome structure that you will find all over the Twilight Forest if you just do some exploring. Alright, well, we managed to make it back from the Twilight Forest. It was quite the interesting journey. There's a lot to do and see there, but I just wanted to help y'all figure out how to get there and some of the key landmarks to look for while you're exploring the Twilight Forest for the first time. Obviously, there are plenty of biomes and enemies and bosses and other type things that I didn't get a chance to go over, but again, this is just kind of the introduction. I just wanted to let y'all know what the Twilight Forest was and how useful it can be as you start or continue your journey through all the mods 9. Either way, I have been Dandy. It's been really fun to show y'all this, and thank y'all for sticking around if you've made it to this point of the video. As always, if there's anything you want me to cover, or anything I may not have covered in this video, or if I need to go deeper into the Twilight Forest, please let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to do so. Besides that, you know, think about subscribing if you like learning about Minecraft mod packs, any of them really, or how to get into other modded games, or just gaming in general. I just like helping people have an easier time learn how to start their gaming so they can have the most fun. Either way, thanks for hanging around. I've been Dandy again, and bye friends.